Hello, welcome to TJ13 TV's preview of the Spanish Grand Prix. Well, what will the race bring this time? We've had a few thrillers and a few snorefests over the past few years. Here's what our experts think.
It's absolutely chucking it down in Australia at the moment. It's not all summer bay living, you know, despite what people tell you. We could do some of this in Spain this weekend to try and make it a little bit more interesting, because it's just going to be a processional race, so clouds, go that way.
Mercedes have locked out the front row at Barcelona on Saturday 4 of the last 5 years. And a front row start is very, very important at this circuit. I think 24 out of the 27 winners of the race at the Circuit de Catalunya have come from the front row. But we thought China would be an opportunity for Mercedes to demonstrate their qualifying prowess, and it didn't happen. So my money is on a Ferrari front row. Maybe Mercs and Red Bulls mixed up on rows 2 and row 3, and a Ferrari win.
So we have a Barcelona race coming this weekend, and I'm expecting it to be pretty boring actually. The last few races, including China, unexpectedly, were pretty interesting. Australia was a bore fest, and there was a rush to have drastic changes put in place to improve overtaking, and lo and behold, we had some incredible races. China, Baku, Bahrain. Well, I'm expecting Barcelona to be a complete snooze fest. Perhaps the best thing we can talk about is all the anticipated updates that all the teams will be bringing, and how that will improve their performance. But obviously everyone's going to be bringing an update, so probably we'll find the status quo remains the same.
Big weekend, I think, for McLaren. They've turned up with obviously some upgrades to the car, that atrocious nose that's going to grab a lot of attention for the wrong reasons. Yeah, if the car isn't breaking into the top 10 in Q3, then I think there's going to be some pressure building. They've had a bit of time from pre-season now to work on the car, refine it, bring some updates. If they're not starting to get that right, I think we're going to see these cracks get bigger. And certainly with Fernando tasting a tiny bit of champagne last weekend in Spa on his WEC holiday weekend, shall we say, I think he might start to get frustrated and think, you know what, sod this, I'm off.
Barcelona is one of the circuits where I will most miss the grid girls.
Of the rumoured updates, of which by the time you watch this video you'll probably know about, is McLaren having a radical nose piece, and also Ferrari incorporating their rear view mirrors into their halo. Not sure if that will improve the look, but it's something to talk about.
One thing I don't want to see in Spain this weekend is this. Yes! But I think we will.
I'm particularly looking forward to see the return of Robert Kubica for Williams in FP1. Bring it on.
Another interesting one for me, for Barcelona, is Pirelli. So a few races ago they announced that they were shaving a few millimetres off the tread depth of the tyre. The request to do that was believed to have come from Mercedes. So I'm interested to see how Mercedes perform. Will this make a big difference to their pace, their ability to get the tyres in the right window and keep them there? If not, then it's going to be a long season for Mercedes.
I think Red Bull will probably wish that this is going to be a boring race, because it's been all about them lately. Max Verstappen in particular needs a solid performance. Let's be honest, he had the pace probably to win 1 or 2 races this year already if he hadn't have made some silly mistakes, and he'll be looking to improve this weekend.
So another new piece of bodywork has appeared in Spain on Thursday, and that's of the Maranello team. They've decided to put their wing mirrors on the halo. It might have some aerodynamic benefits, why else would they do it? But it just looks awful, and we're not far off the 2008 cars where we just had bits of bodywork everywhere and the drivers struggle to get in. They have to have a game of Twister with themselves to get into the cars. It looks ridiculous.
Since last time out, Fernando Alonso claimed victory at his debut WEC race. What does this mean for the Spaniard in Spain? Could he win? Nah.
Williams this weekend, I think they'll be back rooted to the back of the grid. They had a good race in Baku, showed good pace. Are they getting on top of the car? I'm not convinced, and I think the layout of Barcelona will show their weaknesses again. Sauber looked good, so I'm expecting both Williams cars to be at the back of the grid.
Lewis Hamilton may well have his season turn around this in this race in Barcelona. The Spanish Grand Prix has been relatively kind to him in the past, and also the Mercedes has dominated there on more than one occasion. So both Mercedes and Lewis will be expecting to have a fuss-free, fast car and hopefully no incidents. He's doing pretty well in the points table considering some of the incidents that have happened and the lack of outright pace he's had. So they'll be hoping to make some progress and no doubt perhaps even take the honours.
I'm expecting good car performance from Renault this weekend. They've been steadily improving, albeit in some way in the background. They've just been quietly getting on with the job, on with the business. The engine seems to be a lot stronger in the yellow car. Wonder why. But yeah, the chassis for me has been a big development for them. They've got the whole package, seems to be working in harmony. So I think Renault will get a bit closer to Red Bull again, and hopefully a good solid points haul for Carlos, and Nico can finish the race.
One thing that I really do hope will happen is a similar incident to Barcelona in 2016. Huge crash at the beginning between teammates and an unlikely victor, but somehow I very much doubt it. Roll on 2019.
So for Barcelona this weekend, Red Bull, it'd be interesting to see how they approach the race weekend. They've had a very fast car out the box this year, one of the first really season for a long time where they've actually turned up with a fast car. Once their upgrades start come, they win a development race. They're in the mix, but they've been there from the start this year, and I don't think they've taken the points that they would have expected or hoping to take for one reason or another. So after the dust has settled from Baku, I don't think a lot's going to change, to be honest. Max has got a lot to prove. There's a lot of pressure on him. People are now starting to question his maturity at a very young age, may I add, but his time in F1 now is still making silly mistakes. So he's got to perform. He's got to start performing, I think, for me. Danny Rick, driving for his future, whether that be a continued seat at Red Bull or a red car, a silver car. We don't know what he wants to do or where's the best option to go at the moment, but he's not going to be backing off either. He won't be yielding. So we might hear more vocal instructions coming from Christian on the pit wall, telling the drivers what to do, a bit of multi-21. But we know what happened with multi-21 as well. It was ignored. So I think we might hear the instructions, but the drivers, it will be business as usual. And maybe not this weekend. It might be too soon, too raw to say that, but they're going to come together again at some point. It'll be interesting. And while this is happening, Christian's foot will be jigging away, as per usual.
Montmello is a high-speed, medium downforce circuit, and it was resurfaced at the beginning of this year. So I'm hoping that the cars are going to punish the Pirelli medium soft and super soft tyres, and it's going to be many, many pit stop race. Please.
So a big weekend coming for Mercedes. I mean, come on, they're all big, aren't they? But they're very, very lucky, I think, to be leading the Drivers' Championship, a close second in the Constructors' Championship. but they will be expecting more from their 2018 car. Big weekend for Lewis as well. He's not really performed. He's been the first to admit that. Recent article in the media saying that he's been punching below his weight. I think we all agree with that. He can do better, but also the car can do better. There's a lot of emphasis on this chassis, and his Mercedes approach to the non-rake racing that we see from every other team on the grid, really. They all got a massive rake. Is Mercedes' approach looking outdated in 2018? Will they have to change their philosophy for next year and go with the style that seems to be working for every other race team? So big pressure on Mercedes. Will they bring enough to improve? I can't see it.
2017 Barcelona saw Lewis Hamilton end a decade where a different driver won the Spanish Grand Prix each year. So, if we're going to have a new driver this year, out of the top boys, it's Danny Rick and Valtteri Bottas left. So maybe a nice little outside bet there. Bit of a punt. A few pesetas. Oh no, it's euros now, isn't it? Silly money.
Which Lewis Hamilton will we see this weekend in Spain? He's been saying a lot in the media lately that he's not on his game at the moment. He's punching below his weight, was the last article I read. But what Lewis will turn up? Which Lewis will turn up? If I think Bottas can outgun him again on Saturday, then it's going to be a very lonely race for Lewis, where 5th, probably at best, could be on the table. Quite lucky to be leading the championship at the moment. You've got to take it. Championships are won with a bit of luck as well, but yeah, I think it's not going to be too long before Ferrari or Red Bull start sorting themselves out, start bringing home the results, and I think they might have already won the development race in Maranello and Milton Keynes. Barcelona this weekend, let's just cut straight to the chase. It's going to be boring, simple as that. A procession, just a big snake of cars going round, drivers saying over the radio, I can't get any closer, the tyres are going off, you're overheating, back off, back off. It's just going to be boring. You've heard it here first.
So there you have it. We will be back on Sunday with the race review. In the meantime, if you've enjoyed what you've watched, do us a favour, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and don't forget to check out thejudge13.com for daily F1 news, opinion and inside whispers. See you on Sunday.